Hello and welcome. I'm Sara Raymond with The Mindful Movement. Thanks for joining me. Today's yoga practice is all about getting a deep stretch. But just keep in mind that everyone's level of flexibility is slightly different. So try to choose a variation or a modification that feels best in your body today. Let's get started. Come to lying on your back, or really any position that's comfortable for you, to take a few centering deep breaths. So as you find that relaxing position to begin, perhaps it feels good to close your eyes and just take a few deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. And again, breathing in fully and out. And then allowing your breath to simply return to a natural rhythm. And as you take a few moments of stillness, invite your body to relax, to let go, to just settle from any events you've already experienced today or planning for any future events, and just be here now. So knowing that our intention for today's practice is to explore some deep stretching, let your body relax as a preparation, knowing that our bodies can more fully open and stretch in a relaxed state. A tight gripping muscle is much more difficult to release and stretch. Taking just one more moment here to get ourselves prepared for movement. Scan your body and welcome ease into any areas that you might still feel gripping or holding. And then when you're ready, we'll start to move a little. You can blink your eyes open if you'd like, or feel free to keep them closed. Let's start by bringing our right knee in towards our chest. And just take your time as we start to settle into some of these deep stretches. Know that you might need to gradually get to the deep point of the stretch. So as you're pulling your right knee in toward your chest, reach long through your left leg. Breathing in fully and breathing out. Perhaps circling your right ankle around if that feels good. And as I said before, we'll be taking lots of different options, variations in the posture. So think of this as an exploration, your practice exploring what your body might need today. And gently take your right knee out a little wider towards your right shoulder. Breathing fully and deeply. And everyone's body has a different level of flexibility from one posture to another. So I'll try to offer you some variations that I might not be able to get into, but your body might be able to. And then from there, bring your right knee back in line with your right hip and start to lift your foot up towards the ceiling. And you can take your right elbow just inside of your right knee, maybe grab your ankle or your foot into a half happy baby posture. So we're just working that pose on the right side. And then maybe you want a little more length out of your left side so you can reach your left arm back, left leg out. Always taking that full deep breath here. Letting your breath be a tool to find a little more ease in your posture. And then when you're ready, bring your right foot back down, hold your right knee with your right knee, left hand, and then right arm out to the side, and we'll twist across. So the right knee goes across, and you can just take your time here, first twist of the practice, and then gently releasing, softening into the twist. And if it feels good, you might turn your right palm up, maybe look toward your right hand. Let's take one more deep breath here in this twist. And then gently making your way back to center. And then taking your time, just settling into the middle. And then outstretch your right leg. And take your time hugging your left knee in towards your chest. And again, let it be a slow and easy stretch. So as you bring that right knee in, maybe you circle your ankle around. That's your left leg. One day I'll figure out my left from my right. And then just gently pulling your left knee outside towards your left shoulder. And then bringing your knee back in line with your in line with your hip, moving in towards half happy baby. So your left foot lifts up, take your left elbow inside of your knee, and then grabbing for ankle or foot. And again, just take your time. This side for me is definitely different than the other side. You might experience the same. So you'll feel something different from your left to your right here, where we're really opening the front of the right hip on the lower leg. Just taking one more deep breath here. And then just gently taking our time coming into our twist. So holding left knee with right hand, left arm will go out to the side, and just take your time twisting across. And again, as you start to arrive in your twist, you can explore left palm up towards the ceiling, maybe taking your eye gaze to the left. And letting your breath help to relax you. And then when you're ready, unwinding to center. Let's take a moment with both knees in towards our chest, maybe rocking side to side, or small circles, whatever feels good there. And then gently curling your head and shoulders up, rocking front to back a few times, and then we'll make our way up to hands and knees. So coming up so that you end up with your wrists under your shoulders, knees under your hips, and then pressing into the floor. As you exhale, round your back up. And inhaling to arch. Drawing your shoulders down, reaching your chest forward. And again, rounding up, exhaling, and arching. And then come back through that midpoint, and we'll take our right leg out to the right. So you might try to line up your right heel with your right knee. I'm comfortable with my toes forward. If you need to adjust your ankle position, you can do that. And then we'll go in through our cat-cow again with one leg out to the side. So tucking the tail, rounding the back, exhaling, and then arching. And again, exhale. And this time as we come up into that cow posture, we'll stay there. So the tailbone is lifting, the shoulders are down. You may not go quite as far as you did when you had both knees down. And then in that posture, just start to shift back and forward. And we're going only as far back as we can before that tail tucks under again. So keeping a slight lift of your tail. And then when you come back, we'll place the right knee back down. If you're comfortable with knees together for child's pose, go there. If you need a little space, take the space. As you lay down onto your thighs, take a breath here in the center. And then shift your hips slightly to your left and take your hands to your right. So creating a little side bend here, lengthening maybe left fingertips forward. Find a little more opening in your left side body. Holding there for a breath. And then continue to walk your right hand back. So it's somewhere near your foot or next to your foot, or you might even end up with your right hand on your right foot. And then we'll start to lift our chest up, lift our hips up, and then come into a nice big opening here. So hips are pressing forward. You're reaching your left arm over your head. And then lowering your hips back down. Take your time, come to a child's pose with the arms and the hips in the center. And then coming back to hands and knees. And then next time we'll take our left leg out to the left. So again, try to line up knee and heel approximately. Scoot over so I have a little bit more space here. And then rounding the back up into your cat, exhaling and inhaling to arch. And then again, we'll hold that arch or the slight length in the spine and then shift back and forward. Again, just going back as far as you can without curling your tail under. And then making our way to child's pose. So again, knees together if you can, a little space if you need. Bring down in the center for a breath. And this time hips will shift off to the right and then arms to the left. And then continue walking your left hand around towards your left foot and then begin to send your hips forward and right arm back overhead. And then when you're ready, lower your hips back down. Child's pose through the center here. Maybe you want to shift your hips gently side to side here, if that feels good. And then coming onto all fours. From here, step your right foot forward into a low lunge. So we'll have right knee over right ankle. And then your left knee will be slightly behind you. Keep in mind that you can put blocks up underneath of your hands if that's a more comfortable position for you. From here, we'll lift up onto our thigh and then draw the abdominals up and in. So think about pulling your right heel and your left knee towards each other so you feel a little energy in your midline, and then whoop, falling over. Reset. Here we go. So from here, if you can, bend your left knee and then start to reach back and grab your left foot if you can. This is why we really need that lift of the energy. Otherwise, your hamstring might start to cramp up on you. And I fall over again. Okay, take two. So holding there, gently pulling your heel towards your butt. And then releasing that left foot, bringing your hands back down to the floor. Start to send your hips back over your left knee, right ankle flexes, and then here, think like a cow pose. We're lengthening the spine a little. I always have a hard time with this, trying to square hips. So you might sense your right hip pulling back, left hip pulling forward in the half split. And then again, bending your right knee. Take your right hand inside your right foot. You might walk that foot out a little to make some room for your shoulders. Now here's a posture that probably has a lot of different options for different flexibility levels. So this is option number one, just bringing hips forward towards your heel. And then if you have a little more flexibility here, you might be able to land your forearms on the floor. I'm not quite there. So if you can, I would say try to find as much ease in that posture as you can. If you're fighting it like I would be, it's just not worth it. So you just stay up. You can also explore picking up the back knee, either with your hands or your forearms on the floor. And then if you do have your back knee lifted, go ahead and lower it down. Lift your right toes so that your ankle is flexed. Rotate or pivot on the heel so your leg turns out, and you'll come down onto the outer border of your right foot, opening your knee there. And then you can stay here and just work your hips towards your front heel, or you can start to add a rotation. So you'll have your weight into your left hand and then maybe pick your right hand up, or your right hand can go to your hip, and just working there. Breathing. And then when you're ready, bringing that hand back down, and then we'll unwind ourselves, untangle ourselves from this posture. And this time, let's go big toes together, knees apart in your child's pose as you sit back. And you might notice quite a big difference between your sides as you just gently shift your hips. And then, I don't know about you, but I definitely would like to do the other side to balance out. So left foot goes forward, ankle, knee over ankle, and just finding your low lunge posture to start. And then coming up onto your knee. So again, energizing heel, front heel towards back knee, lifting up, and then begin to gently bend your right knee, maybe grabbing your right foot. And here again, we might find a slight difference between sides. And then when you're ready, releasing there. And then taking your hands back down and start to send your hips back into this half split. So as level and square as you can through your pelvis. Left toes can come up, and we're lengthening here. And breathing. And then shift your weight forward again over your left heel. Both hands inside of your left foot. Walk your left foot out to again make room. And then hips are coming towards your front heel. Either staying up here or starting to work your way down. So if you're again like not getting your elbows down, you can put a block underneath or just stay up here and start to bring your hips forward. Good, and from here we'll add that knee opening. So the left toes lift, pivot on the heel. So we want to try to keep the ankle flexed. So you're on the outer border of that foot as your knee opens. And then either just working hips forward towards your heel or perhaps adding the twist here. So shoulders will rotate towards your left. Maybe your left arm lifts. And then carefully unwinding and coming back to child's pose. The hips will shift back. And a little shifting of your pelvis side to side if that feels good. And then walk your hands in, walk your knees into hip distance apart. And then for puppy pose, try to keep your hips over your knees, walk your hands forward, and begin to lower your chest down. Now we want to try to focus on the shoulders here. So if you're really bendy in your mid-back and you're kind of hanging down like this, draw your ribs in a little bit so you're active through your trunk, and then think of pressing your shoulders, your armpits down towards the floor here. And if it's too much, you can always bring your hips back a little. You'll take pressure out of the shoulders. And then from there, walk your hands in, plant them nice and wide here. And then take your time coming up into downward dog. So your knees can be bent slightly to start, and you'll press your hips back. And then maybe you want to walk through your heels a few times. Just giving yourself a gentle stretch through your calves. And then from there, lift your right leg up. And then keeping your shoulders square towards the floor as best you can, start to turn your hips and bend your knee. So you're opening your hips, pressing your knee back. And then from there, we'll unwind our hips, bring your right knee forward towards your right wrist. And for this variation of pigeon, you can sit down onto your right hip and bring your right foot forward. And your left knee will be more out in line with your left hip here. So you're trying to aim your hips towards the short side of your mat. And then with your back flat as long as you can, leaning forward over that leg. Good. And then when you can't go any farther with your spine straight, then you can start to lower your forearms down, maybe round your back a little here. And just taking a few deep breaths. And maybe with each breath you might find you can soften a little more or go just slightly deeper. And when you're ready, gently coming up. And then we will make our way back to downward dog. Again, take a second if you want to pedal your heels or maybe shift your hips side to side or shoulders. Nice place to explore. And then from there, lifting your left leg up, rotating your hips, but again, trying to keep your hips square, bending your left knee, opening. And then bring your left knee forward towards your left wrist. Go ahead and sit your hips down, and then you can bring your foot forward, knee out to the side, and then turning to face the short side of your mat. And then lifting your spine tall, hinging forward. And again, hips are one of those areas of the body where you might find one side feels quite different than the other. And then once you can't go any farther with your back flat, you can round a little bit. And just try to find a little ease. Taking one more deep breath here, softening into that left hip. And then gently helping yourself up. And then here we'll come into a wide leg straddle split. So toes will be pointed up towards the ceiling, ankles gently flexed here. Sitting up as tall as you can. Let's take our right hand on our right leg, lift the left arm, and then gently side bending towards that foot. So just finding a push or a depth that feels good for you. And then you want to just be careful to keep your left hip down. So that's sort of your anchoring point. And then rotate your shoulders toward your right knee. And you're leaning forward over your right leg. So still trying to anchor that left hip. It wants to roll up. And then staying low, just walk your hands to the center and then folding forward in the middle. Maybe walking your hands a little farther forward. And then walk your hands back in and up. And then going to the other side. So left arm out to the left, right arm up. And then we're anchoring our right hip down as we side bend towards the left. And then keeping your shoulders towards your left leg. Turn to face your left leg and fold. And then walking your hands towards the center. Just a few more breaths here. And then walking your hands in and up. And then we will make our way onto our back for Shavasana. A little bit of rest after your deep stretching. Oh, laying yourself down. Looking for a bit of stillness here. So whatever you need to do to find ease in your body, so that you can find stillness. Perhaps a blanket under your knees or under your head. Or maybe you want to lay on your side, and that's fine too. Once you arrive, close your eyes. Maybe open your arms gently to the side, palms turn up. And starting with the small muscles around your eyes and your cheeks. Just let go. Unclench your jaw. And just relax your neck and shoulders down onto the mat beneath you. And staying here for a few moments of peace and stillness. Take another deep breath in through your nose. Let it out through your mouth. Just beginning to broaden your awareness. Notice how the air feels as it meets any exposed skin. And bring some gentle movements to your body in any way that feels good. And when you're ready, rolling onto one side. And then gently helping yourself up to seated. Maybe closing your eyes again when you get there. Join your hands together. Let them rest on your heart. And just take a moment to check in with how you are feeling after this practice. The light and love in me honors the light and love in you. Thank you for practicing with me today. Namaste.